The Miami Grand Prix is fast approaching, and with a sprint weekend ahead, we are heading into a series of events that could provide decisive clues about the direction of this season. The weather will play a crucial role in Florida, as will the psychological aspects, which often weigh heavily at this circuit. Will the team from Maranello manage to regroup, or will we witness another standout performance from the Woking squad and the reigning world champion? The weekend schedule includes only 1 hour of free practice before the short race, which usually brings the kind of unpredictability that Formula One fans love. With so little time for fine-tuning, it is quite likely that setup mistakes will end up hurting some teams, just as we saw at the previous round in China. The Italian team is hopeful about the sprint format, especially after winning the last event held under these conditions. Furthermore, the red car demonstrated unexpectedly strong performance in cooler track conditions in the first practice session and sprint qualifying. The chance of rain is estimated at 20%. On Saturday, when the sprint race and main grid definition will take place, the temperatures are expected to range between 21 and 29 degrees Celsius, with the rain probability remaining stable. On Sunday, more cloud cover is expected, and the rain chance increases to 40%. Although that number had previously been much higher, Miami's climate history suggests that even with 90% probability, rain is never guaranteed until it starts falling. Even though it is unlikely that temperatures will drop as low as they did in China, potential rainfall may cool the asphalt enough to benefit certain teams, such as the Italian squad and the German manufacturer. It is important to remember that Miami's climate is notoriously unstable. In just 30 minutes, a heavy storm and intense sunshine can alternate in the same location, which makes tire strategy and general team performance even more difficult to manage. Despite this challenging scenario, the Italian team needs to make the most of this event. Besides gathering valuable data for the first phase of its upgrade package to be introduced in Imola at the next round, it will be essential to get the best out of the current setup and deliver a solid performance. We have seen that when they find the sweet spot of the car, they can compete head-to-head with the frontrunners. However, the gap that has formed between Leclerc and Hamilton in recent races is quite noticeable. The British driver, a 7-time world champion, stated that the car feels completely alien to him, but that could change at any moment. The performance instability of the red car is evident, but that very trait could play in Hamilton's favor, especially considering his victory and pole position in the sprint race in China. Something similar is expected here. Despite the difficulties, the Italian squad still believes there is much to fight for in this long season. The anticipation for the new technical directive to be implemented in Barcelona does not mean they are giving up on the title battle. On the other hand, the bright orange team is facing some internal challenges. While they are currently the strongest outfit on the grid, with 2 high-level drivers battling for every point, the expectation was that Norris would take the lead role this year. However, the reality has favored his teammate, who is delivering on the promise made at the start of the season that he was ready to fight for the championship. Piastri is the only driver to have won more than one race in the year 2025, collecting 3 victories, while Norris and Verstappen have won just 1 each. This further reinforces the young Australian's growing prominence, as he now leads the standings and will be racing for the first time as the championship leader. Interestingly, this round takes place at the very venue where Norris secured his first victory last year, which certainly boosts his motivation to respond strongly. With the battle heating up, and in a season where qualifying has been crucial, it will be important to watch how the combination of low and medium-speed corners, along with the heavy braking zones on the main straight, will benefit the Woking cars. The team has shown great superiority in slower sections, which makes the second sector of the track one of their main strengths this weekend. However, we must still see how the Austrian car and the red machines will respond in the high-speed sections, particularly in the initial part of the circuit. McLaren's dominance is expected to continue unless something unexpected occurs, and although they would prefer hot, sunny conditions, the threat of rain could completely disrupt their plan. We still do not know exactly how tropical weather will impact a Formula One race, because even though we saw similar events in Australia, the conditions in Florida are significantly different. In this context, strategy will be absolutely crucial in McLaren's quest for victory. And it is precisely in these moments that champions are forged. Lando Norris will face more pressure than usual this weekend, as he has much to prove. After emerging as a title contender thanks to McLaren's turnaround last year and consistently outperforming his teammate in qualifying and race pace throughout 2024, it was expected that this trend would continue. However, the situation has flipped, and now we see a pressured British driver, especially after mistakes in the sprint qualifying session in China and during Q3 in Jeddah. These are the decisive moments where he must deliver perfectly, because if he does not, it is very likely that Piastri will take full control of the Woking team. And of course, we cannot overlook Max Verstappen. The four-time world champion is unhappy with the penalty he received in Saudi Arabia and enters this circuit, which he particularly enjoys, with a sense of revenge. In 2023, he dashed Pérez's hopes, who at the time was seen as a title contender. Despite starting from 9th position, Verstappen won comfortably, making a strong statement. However, much has changed since then. The Austrian team is currently facing a rough patch. Their inability to fully understand the car's behavior is forcing Verstappen to push to the absolute limit, just to compete with the Woking cars. Additionally, the changing weather could put him under pressure from Russell, who has proven to be one of the best qualifiers on the grid. The British Mercedes driver should not be underestimated, even though this is a sprint weekend and no upgrades will be introduced. That does not mean the teams will not fine-tune setups and try to optimize everything possible. The championship standings remain extremely tight, with Norris, Piastri and Verstappen separated by just a few points, and with the German manufacturer expected to bring a major upgrade package to Imola. It would not be surprising to see Russell enter the title fight as well. Naturally, a win from a Ferrari driver would be excellent to increase competitiveness and remind everyone that a rough start to the season does not mean a team should be written off. The current pecking order also deserves attention. Williams demonstrated in Jeddah that it is in a promising phase in the Constructors' Championship, and so far stands out among the midfield team. Sprint races are excellent opportunities for these teams to score valuable points, which could represent multi-million-dollar gain. At the same time, these events serve as ideal stages for under-pressure drivers to prove their worth. One clear example is Liam Lawson. The New Zealander has yet to score points in 2025, and considering that both Tsunoda and Hadjar have already delivered results with the same car this season, the pressure on him is mounting. And we are not even talking about Arvid Lindblad yet, who became the youngest winner of a Formula 2 race last week in Jeddah. Red Bull has high expectations for him, and with Helmut Marko's recent praise for Hadjar, the outlook is increasingly unfavorable for Lawson, who may be facing his last chances in the top tier of motorsport. Thus, this weekend presents the perfect opportunity for him to finally break through and enter the points table. That score will be crucial for his team's future development and also for his own place on the grid. And now we want to know your thoughts. What is the aspect that excites you most about the Miami Grand Prix of 2025? Leave a comment below and then click on the video that is now appearing on your screen.